The fountain of youth in the supermarket. How emotions affect kids' eating preferences, and can agroecology save the planet while feeding the population? For May 4th, 2011, this is Food News Today. Good morning. Today's broadcast is pre-recorded, so therefore we will not be able to have a live chat. If you do have any questions, please feel free. Email me, phil@supermarketguru.com. Food News Today is sponsored by ConAgra Foods, who shares with me the desire to provide the most current, interesting, and unbiased food news. In Health and Wellness today, we take a look at the fountain of youth through the supermarket aisles. It's becoming more and more obvious and undeniable that we are what we eat. Study after study demonstrates the link between a certain overall lifestyle or particular food and improved health. That's making headlines on a weekly basis. Foods that we eat today will have both an immediate and long-term effect on our bodies. And fortunately, the decisions regarding what we eat are individual. So the question that just about everyone wants the answer to is, where is that fountain of youth? Can it actually be answered? Yes, and quite simply. It's in your local supermarket or farmer's market. Here are some favorite foods. Avocados, usually thought of as a vegetable, is actually a fruit that's rich in monounsaturated fats that may help to reduce the bad LDL cholesterol in our blood. Avocados are rich in potassium, which is necessary for proper nerve and muscle function, as well as helping to lower blood pressure. Dark leafy greens, including collard greens, kale, and spinach, are all full of antioxidants, including lutein and zeaxanthin, which are vital in maintaining eye health and preventing macular degeneration, as well as including vitamin K, which allows for normal blood clotting, protects against osteoporosis, and prevents oxidative cell damage. Garlic, known for its strong aroma and flavor, is produced by the presence of allicin, a sulfur-containing compound that promotes antioxidant activity as well as acting as an antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal. Scientific studies have demonstrated garlic's blood pressure lowering capabilities and its positive effects on lowering cholesterol. Herbs and spices not only pack a flavorful punch, but are also rich in anti-aging compounds. Parsley, oregano, basil, turmeric, and cinnamon are only a few of the many that are great sources of antioxidants. Vitamins, minerals, and other bioactive compounds that keep our body functioning in tip-top shape are also one of the results of these herbs. The deeper the color and fresher the herbs and spices, the better. Studies have shown that on a per gram fresh weight basis, herbs rank even higher in antioxidant activity than many fruits and vegetables. Our consumer trend story this morning takes a look at preferences, why we eat what we eat. Ever wonder if seeing someone enjoying a certain food would affect your preference for that same food, or if a person's weight status would affect your choice? A study recently published in the journal Obesity demonstrates that both weight and emotion affect and influence our eating habits. Moreover, adults may influence children's eating habits through their facial expressions and conveyed emotions. Previous research and this study demonstrates that adults' desire to eat foods decreases in the presence of an overweight eater compared to a normal weight eater. This study set out to understand influences on children's eating desires. When the kids liked the foods presented, the eater's weight had no effect on their eating desire. They were more influenced by the eater's facial expressions. An expression of pleasure increased the desire to eat the liked foods in the younger children, whereas an expression of disgust decreased it. The findings come at a time when about 1/3 of children are overweight or obese, which increases their risk for type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, and other health problems. This study reminds us of the extreme impressionability of children and the importance of teaching them good habits through our actions. Adults, parents, guardians should all be mindful of the way they react towards certain foods, both those that are nutrient-rich and nutrient-poor. For example, when food shopping with kids, parents are advised to spend lots of time in the produce section, choosing carefully, sharing the wonderful scents of the fruits and vegetables and colors with their kids, as compared with time spent in front of the processed meat case or freezers full of ice cream and desserts. The same goes for eating occasions. Kids look up to their parents and adults, and thus we need to be mindful in choosing foods as well as our negative reactions to healthier foods. So here's the bottom line. When you're eating healthy foods, be sure to smile. Agroecology is good for the environment and people. In our economy and spending story today, we take a look at a recent report from the United Nations that shows that food production in poor countries suffering from a historical lack of investment in agriculture could double in a decade if farms switch to ecological agriculture, also known as agroecology. The UN estimates that the world population will reach 9 billion people by the year 2050, making the task of feeding the world even more of a challenge. With food costs rising and supply diminishing, the time is now to start growing green and utilizing agroecology before further unrest between the haves and the have-nots erupts. What is agroecology? While some people try to portray it as a return to middle-age agriculture, it's actually the opposite. Agroecology is a modern science requiring a bridge between scientists and farmers. In simple terms, it enhances soil productivity, protects crops against pests by relying on the natural environment such as beneficial trees, plants, animals, and insects. It mimics nature very differently from copying industrial processes, which has been driving agriculture for a long time. That, according to Olivier de Schutter, the UN Special Reporter on the Right to Food and author of the report, who goes on to say, and I quote, "Agriculture, now part of the problem of climate change, should be made part of the solution." His report shows that agroecological projects prove to be more resilient to extreme climate-related events, while substantially reducing the use of oil and oil-based pesticides and fertilizers at the same time. Agroecology also has the potential to adapt to and to mitigate climate change. According to him, agriculture accounts for 14% of total annual emissions, with change in land use, including deforestation for agriculture expansion, contributing another 19%. Climate change is also an issue, and in certain regions of sub-Saharan Africa, for example, yields are expected to fall by 50% by 2020 in comparison to 20-year-ago levels. Small and large-scale operations can apply the principles of agroecology. Large-scale operations are already using these principles in the UK, France, Central America, and in the Pacific Northwest here in the U.S. For Food News Today, I'm Phil Lempert. Thanks for joining us. If you have a colleague in retailing, the media, or a blogger who would also like to receive our advanced email, please just ask them to visit foodnewstoday.com to sign up. Next week's stories will be in your Tuesday email.